Welcome to Being Curious podcast show with Counseling Reflections, a podcast where we dive deep into the human experience, uncovering stories of resilience and triumph. We are proudly supported by Moskin, a UK-based skincare line infused with sea moss.
Good morning, Matty Morris. I made a mistake, everyone, by calling him the wrong name. So if he sacks me during the interview, please. It was not intentional. But we've met Matty before, and I really want you to get to know him again because there's a lot gone on since I last spoken to him. So this is really hot off the press. Good morning, Matty. How are you doing? How's the world looking after you this morning?
Good morning, Cornetta. Thank you for that lovely introduction. I'm really well this morning. Thank you very much. And at the moment, I'm in a good place.
Tell me, like some of the viewers or listeners would have heard about you, and I invite them to do so. So can you give us a bit of a background story of your journey, but condensed, if it's possible, because so much has happened.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do a very short version. All right. So brought up in a Christian background, successfully went through primary school, secondary school, also college where I did graphic design. From there, I was 18. I took a year out, and that's when I started to experience the world. When I say experience the world, parties, going out, staying up late, drugs. From that, crime came into it because I wasn't working. From that, I'm fast forwarding very quickly, done 6.5 years altogether in prison for monetary gain. Very important I get that out. So I'm talking selling drugs, robberies on drug dealers and stuff like that. And then I found my way, got back into finding my purpose in life, gave up all drugs, gave up all sort of addictions, crime, and thankfully, I thank God and, the prayers from my family and for them not giving up on me, that I started my own business called Metamorphosis, which is a business giving back to the community where I do peer mentoring to individuals who are struggling with life skills or certain lifestyles. And I also present PowerPoint presentations at schools, colleges, prisons and various establishments.
So there's a lot going on there, and I really don't want to kind of dismiss your I suppose your childhood and your lived experience, because when I spoke to you last time it was so powerful, and the feedback from listeners was really amazed by just how you grew along that journey.
Yeah.
But you now have got this business. What does it feel like to be an entrepreneur, business owner? And what is the business? What does the daily aspects of your work look like?
Okay, so how does it feel? First of all, I feel very humbled and I feel very, very grateful for the fact that I have a business such as this one, where I'm able to give back to the community, because in my growing up stages of committing crime in the community, I created a lot of, let's say, devastation, upset, hurt, embarrassment. So I feel very, very humbled, very, very grateful to be an advocate in this sort of position. My day-to-day, business lifestyle is opening emails, having meets and greets, funnily enough with, police as well. Police used to be
really? So now that you're kind of, I would say this straight and narrow. But that sounds really, I think I think that's really narrowing your experience. But what is it like to work with the police now compared to previously, where they weren't really who you wanted to see in your life?
Okay, so, because it's a CIC business, community interest company, okay, I have to have a guarantor and 2 directors. So 2 directors, that's easily enough for me to find. I've got Kate. I will answer your question, sorry. This is, relating to the question. I've got a lady called Kate who's head of wellbeing, and then I have a guy called Cameron who's head of IT. Now my guarantor funnily enough, is a policeman, okay? It is the police that came to me and said, Mr. Morris, we commend you for the work you're doing. Remember, prior to me actually having it set up on the gov.uk website on the 29th of April 2024, I was doing it all voluntary. I was doing talks in churches, youth clubs, Narcotics Anonymous meetings, going into schools and prisons, voluntary, and the police caught wind of it. So they're the ones that came to me and said, Mr. Morris, we believe you'd be a good advocate to basically build that bridge between, let's just say individuals that are like going through antisocial behavior, be it drugs, be it crime, be it traumatic experiences, where I can help them and then in turn help the police. Does that make sense? So I'm helping the police sort of get on the level with individuals. Yeah.
That is amazing that actually the police recognise what you were doing, volunteering. It feels like it must feel surreal, or actually was you ready to kind of reach out when the police came to you and said, hey, we really feel that the way that you're working in the community, we feel that we can work in partnership with you. How did that feel?
At first, I thought it was a bit of a joke. Not a joke, because I know the police, when they give that sort of option, it's not a joke. But, let me use the right words. It felt a bit surreal. It felt a bit like it's not really happening. Are the police really coming to me and telling me these things? And I had to sort of go away, excuse me, and think about it. I had to, I didn't give them an answer there and then. I was like, right, thank you very much for the suggestion option. Can I get back to you? So, numbers were exchanged and I had to really sit down and think about it. Wow, to individuals out there, who think, oh, he's working with police, let's stay away from him. No, it's not that. My name is very clean in the community because it is a way of working with individuals to help them say, look, crime doesn't work, drugs don't work. And then in turn, I give results back to the police, say, look, you can lesser your resources because I've helped Tommy, Jason and Kelly. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. So at one stage, I got a bit emotional.
Really? In what way then? What made you feel emotional about the work that you was doing, or the connections?
Because when I told mum and dad, because mum and dad love him to bits, man. They've been married 53 years. Dad's 83, mum's 76, I believe. And when I told them, so remember, this was only this year, even they sat down and got a bit teary. Why? Because in my mid-30s, they saw the drama I caused when police are knocking down their door and searching their Christian home for the sin I brought in there, hiding drugs in the back garden in my dad's shed. They saw me getting arrested. They saw me getting, pushed into the back of a van. And to now say that I'm working with police, I'm not talking just little police. I'm talking head of serious crimes units. I'm talking, head of the commissioner, for example, of Thames Valley Police. I've sat down with him. I get a bit ahead of myself. I am working with the top cheeses who then finally, work. So answering the question, why they get emotional? Because I thought, wow, these are people I used to run from. These are people I used to hide and hate. And now they're working with me on a level, on a legal, clean money level to say, Mr. Morris, well done. You've been clean from drugs and alcohol and cigarettes for years. You've been clean from, crime. Last time I was in prison was 2017. Now they want to help me to help others. That's how I got emotional. As a big man of 46, yes, I did get a bit teary. And then once I thought about it, Cornetta, I then approached the relevant police member, said to him, yes, I'm ready for this, and then got it cracking, got it moving forward,
Matty, what people can't see is what I can see, and what people might not detect in your voice, that you're a black man. You're, I assume, British born here in the UK. So we haven't always had the relationship that we want with the police, or we haven't had the relationship that we wanted or needed in society. And to kind of feel actually I can work in partnership, that's a really important step, isn't it? And especially the reputation historically of Thames Valley Police, it wasn't a positive one locally in the community.
Wow, it's funny you should say that, because a top department within Buckinghamshire Council. See, bearing in mind that I'm answering the question now. So bearing in mind, a lot of my seminars and, peer mentoring one-to-one work is with individuals from anything from the age of 10 up until about the age of, I'd say, 18 at the moment. Yes, the prison talk I did with adults 18 to plus 50, but I'm just saying on a day-to-day basis, it's normally young individuals. This department from the council approached me, heard about the work I was doing. They said, Mr. Morris, could you do a seminar, put one together to teach 25 adults, professional adults working within the youth justice system, to do with disproportionality awareness training in regards to ethnic minorities within the system, be it stop and searches, be it in the courts, probation and prisons. Imagine that. This is when I have to really go back to myself and just thank God, because answering your question, because growing up, I'd say in the 80s, and even prior people before me, you're right, the relationship between ethnic minorities and the police were quite brutal, to say the least, All right? I've had a friend, see, maybe this ain't the right time to say it, but I've had 2 people pass away in police cells. That's another time, another story, okay? So you're correct. So it's all about sort of building that gap now, building that bridge. So, this next seminar I'm doing about what I just mentioned about disproportionality of ethnic minorities within the system, they've come to me. So now I'm going to go into the community, into working class communities and say, lads, how do you feel? How is the relationship like with police and yourselves? Do you find yourself getting stopped and so because you've got a hood up, because, you wear a certain dress code, and this is where I step in. This is where now I can help them to then help in turn the police. Then I would say to the police, look, you're stopping Tom, Dick and Harry, just made up names, because, maybe he's got a face mask on, or maybe he's got a hood up, or maybe he's got a little bounce in his step. Do you think that's correct? Now that's creating more hatred from them towards you. Now, when they do see you, they're more likely to give you attitude or run off, or, do you understand, egg your cars, let's just say, So it's a really lovely position to be in, because, like I said, the individuals trust me. They know I'm not snitching on them or grassing on them, inverted commas. They know I'm just trying to build a better relationship within the community.
I think it's the idea of bridging the gap, isn't there? There's something here that actually, in some way, society ostracized so many people. This didn't happen with the police. Police are part of society as well. This is also missed opportunities within schools. This is also missed opportunities supporting families in a way that they needed to be support. But it's interesting that you kind of said, and you've identified, actually, there is a disproportionate amount of young people from ethnic minority backgrounds who are in the criminal justice system. And what's interestingly about that as well, that often, even if they were black YOS workers or black probation workers, often were disproportionately harder on black youths than they would be on white working class youths. So there's an understanding in the system that could be described as institutional racism, but it's much more complex than that, because there's obviously, you have to look at what's going on within the home and the wider constructs in society. What does society play in raising these young people, often young black men within there? How do you feel when an organisation that has resources approach you and say, hey, we want to talk to you, we want to understand what it means to kind of work with these individuals?
Again, it makes me feel very, very humbled. I can't get ahead of myself, because what happens, sometimes people can't control the spiritual malady. So what do I mean by that? So, when something becomes a bit overwhelming, okay? When something becomes a bit like, oh my gosh, this is above my capabilities, they tend to veer off the subject, or fear steps in and they hide away from it, or they prolong it, or they procrastinate over it. I immediately take it to myself. I sit down, I write it out. I'm very old school. Pen and paper. I write it out. Anything important, I then log into the laptop. So how does it feel? I control my spirituality, because at first it's like, wow, they're coming to me, a criminal, black guy, you know, he's been involved in X, Y, Z, they're coming to me. So I go home, find my quiet space, I put it into my feelings into pen and paper. I then contact the right people. When I say the right people, sometimes I phone mum, sometimes I phone dad for their advice, sometimes I phone my brother, sometimes I might phone my directors, yeah, for, let's just say, advice or knowledge, or, you know, just a little, what do you think? And then again, I put that into writing, and then I come up with a plan, and then go back to that police member or, you know, council member.
So so initially you get really excited by the opportunities that are in front of you or being suggested to you. But you need a sounding board, by the sounds of it, to talk to. So you talk to people like mum and dad, or your directors, or people that can help you process the information. So writing plays an important part. Does writing help you organise your thoughts?
No, definitely, yeah. Way? Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And then you then make a plan.
Correct.
What next then?
Once I've made the plan, then I'll present it into a package. When I say package, I do a breakdown of what I will be presenting. All right, for example, for this latest project I've got to do, I created a package of saying, okay, I'm going to do an intro first of all about myself. I then do an icebreaker. Because they're adults or kids, I do an icebreaker. So this could be a game or some sort of like, you know, activity to loosen them up and get used to everyone. And then from there, I go to the first, you know, PowerPoint, which could be, okay, relationships with police and individuals. Number 2 would be, how do we adjust? How do we work around these relationships? How do we make them better? So basically, what I'm trying to say, once everything is in pen and paper manner, I produce a package, like I just said to you with the outro. I then email that package to the relevant department, and then with a price as well. And then normally they're very good. They get back to me some same day. Some may take a week, I'll be honest with you, because then they've got to go to their superiors and put it forward. So once the package is, you know, in their hands, I wait for a response, and then they'll be like, oh, Mr. Morris, yes, we'd like you to come in on such a day. And then I go in and present the seminar.
What was it like? You know, I can see that you're seasoned at it, or in terms of processes. But what was it like when you had to do the first kind of presentation and stand up, you know, and talk about your life and your vision for young people or adults? How did that feel, that initial first one?
All right, so I call this, there's a word for it. Oh, mate. Give me a second, there is a word. Transferable skills, that's the one. All right, so when I was at college from 16 to 18, I was doing a graphic design course, and they would give you an assignment. You know, you normally take about a month, and then they will give you like a date where you got to present it to the class. So the class would be about, say, 20 students plus, you know, the tutor. So you'd have to get out there and explain your process, show all your, you know, research and how you came to your final presentation. So answering your question, I've always been like a public speaker. Do you understand? I don't really get nervous talking in front of crowds. That come from 16 to 18 at college. All right, let's move forward. And then because I started going to NA meetings, Narcotics Anonymous, there's times when you got to, you know, present your testimony or your share, you know. So again, you're sharing to maybe sometimes as many as 20 to 40 individuals, you know. This could be face to face. And then I went into Zoom meetings, which sometimes could be about 50 people. Okay, you don't see them, but you know they're there. So answering the question, how was my first initial one? I'm human. I'm not a Superman or Black Panther. You know, I get the little anxiety bit beforehand, you know, little nerves and the adrenaline rushing. But I kid you not, oh mate, it's funny. The minute I open my mouth, it's gone. The minute I say, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mr. Morris. I'm the CEO of Officer. It goes. And then I allow God to use me as a positive vessel just to get it out. So answering a question, yes, I'm human. I get a few nerves beforehand, but the minute you do the intro, it's gone.
I want to slow you down a bit, because I really want to go back to that bit that you kind of said, actually, I feel really confident talking to people. And from a young age, I you know, have always been that Does that help because you've been brought up in the church? Did you used to read, I don't know, sermons at church, or was you
No.
kind of, or are you naturally an extrovert?
See, I'm a Cancerian. I don't know if that means anything to anyone, but sometimes we can go within ourselves, like, close off.
Yeah.
So I take that bit as when it's my time. I'm very, very happy being by myself. Like now I'm at home, and then after we've done this podcast, I'll be quite happy for the next few hours. I've got friends and family and the missus, but this is me time. I will do my laundry. I'll put music on. I'll make myself something to eat. But then I'm a proper Cancerian where I will scuttle along and I'm open and I'm chatting and I'm, picking up things and putting things down. So naturally, I would say yes. But then you have to remember, if anybody listened to my first podcast, I lost my voice for 8 months. I'm not going to go into the ins and outs, but I became very introverted, very depressed, full of anxiety. Listen, I couldn't even string 5 words together because it came out in a stutter. I proper lost my voice. I lost my charisma. I lost my character. And, I'm going to be straight with people, I wanted to kill myself. It was at a point where I couldn't even talk to mum and dad. I'll be honest with you, my heart was always beating. I kept myself closed up into my little box room at mum and dad's. When my mates came around for me, I didn't want to go out because I couldn't talk. People don't understand. Like when they say, Matty, you've got the gift of the gab. Sometimes I'm crying inside thinking, wow, if you really knew how I was. So answering your question, yes, I always was. And then I lost my voice. And then God's given my voice back to now use it in a positive manner to help others. Does that make sense?
That is so powerful because I know that we won't be going into the ins and outs on this show today, but I do invite people to kind of go back to your original, the first conversation that we had, because but listening to you, it feels really inspiring because actually we can go through so much in our lives. Not every pathway is a pathway of hope initially. But once we get back on track, then actually there's something about what you're saying is about being in service. What do you want young people or adults to achieve? Because you set up this company, you've got wonderful people around you, you've got people and institutions and organizations interested in your work. So what is it all about then? What is it that you're wanting to do? Why should your organization do more? Or do something,
What is it I want? Okay, so my vision is to empower individuals of today to unlock their true potential. When I say individuals, it doesn't have to be, it's good to catch the individuals early. Of course it is. When their mind is bright, when their mind is active, when they're getting introduced to peer pressure. But when I say individuals to unlock their true potential, sometimes adults have lost their way, be it through relationships, be it through drugs, alcohol, be it through work. So they sometimes haven't found their true potential. What is a potential? It is what God has given you. If you don't believe in God, everyone's got a natural gift. Yeah. When I see certain guys, for instance, example, work in a warehouse, just on the production line, but then when they go home, they're drawing amazing pieces of artwork. That's your gift, young man. You should be an artist. You should be a graphic artist, whatever. When I see individuals washing cars, I've worked at a place where, they're just washing cars all day, every day. But then at break time, let's just say they're writing beautiful poetry or they're rapping. Say, bro, your potential is to get out there, poetry or, doing conscious lyrics. So that is my vision, to unlock people's true potential. My mission. How am I going to get there? I'm getting there by educating them, to fully understand themselves and to find their purpose. So in a nutshell, I've got programs put together where you look inside yourself. A very important question. I bet people can't answer this. When I say, who are you? And they're like, like they really look down, they look up, they look left. They don't know who they are. Once you find out who you are as an individual, you will then begin to process, right, that person's no good for me. That lifestyle's no good for me. This is my purpose. I'm going to take this route, because I know what makes me tick, what my defects are, what my positives are. And in order for me to get there, I am going to create smart goals, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and put it into a time-bound sort of category. And
it's interesting. I'm listening to you and I feel inspired. And I want to ask a question back to you. Well, who is Matty? Because this is your business. Because this is your business. And you're more than just your business. So when you think about the question, who are you? You know?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Matty Morris is an individual who just naturally wants to motivate people, who naturally now wants to just give people a bit of happiness, you know, give people that inspiration to say, look, you know what, you might have a bad leg, but guess what, you know, you're still walking, you know, you might have, you know, have to wear glasses, but guess what, you can still taste, you can still eat, you can still smell, you know, you can still, you know, see the beauty around you. You know, I really just want to uplift people. That is me. That is my purpose.
You know what? I'm listening to you and I was just thinking what comes up for me. And I had a conversation with, I think it was a therapist yesterday, and they talked about hope. They talked about that their work was to kind of lend hope, that even when people were in their darkest hour, that actually being there with them and offering hope is a kind of a way forward. But also you're saying in a sense that kind of holding on to the good, looking at really, which is not my phrase, this comes from, wasn't it Rick Hudson, but holding on to the good, you know, okay, this is going on in my life, but there are other things that are really positive. How can we hold on to it so that you can then achieve your goals? There's something really beautiful when people find themselves and find their gifts.
Yeah, it is. It is, you know, and, you know, just finishing off, not only, you know, am I just trying to inspire people, you know, I am a deeply caring family man. I love my family, you know. You have to love yourself to a certain extent. You know, I do love myself. You have to look after one's appearance internally and externally. I protect my energy. I make sure I don't give it to. That's what I'm saying. Like, oh mate, once you have that gift also of discernment, that in itself is a beautiful, beautiful trait. Okay, because then it allows you to protect your energy. You know, if I go and speak to Jason, he's going to suck my energy. I'm going to feel a bit upset or a bit of gloom and doom. If I chat to Nancy, I'm just example, yeah, she's going to lift me up and internally, and also I'm going to lift her up. So it's all about knowing who you are, your purpose, knowing your gifts. I've got defects, so you come on. I know my defects and I pray to God and I try to iron them out. I write them down. I've got a notice board here and I write down there's certain defects of my character, which I know I've got to, you know, iron out. What do I mean by iron out? Which I know I have to work on. You know, nobody on this earth is perfect. I make mistakes as much as I'm happy. And like someone once said to me, Matty, who motivates the motivator? I was like, wow, you know what, you're right. Because there's times when my battery power is depleted. Yeah, when I do a seminar, it's 100%. You know, Q&A 100%. But then when I get home, it's almost like a sensory overload. I'm like, woo, you know, and it hits home. And then that's when I have me time. I go inside my shell, I write out my thoughts, and then I make the conversation. So I make the phone calls to mum, who will water me. You know, battery power's back up to like 30%. And then I speak to my brother, oh, it's back up to 50. And I talk to my missus, you know, and they say, oh, 75. So you have to know in life also who waters you. Do you understand? That's what I mean, you know. It's all well and good.
I'm listening to you and I am so in agreement, isn't it? There are some energies that we're drawn to that actually deplete us. And there are some energies that enrich us. And often those ones that deplete us, they're going through their own journey, but they're taking too much from us. And it's about those kind of toxic relationships. How do we part those and kind of have a much more healthier relationship? But I think also I'm listening to you about actually having an awareness of my inner self. You have a really unique kind of understanding of your internal world, and that is a work in progress. And I think you'll continue to work on yourself for the rest of your life. And likewise, I discover things about myself that I think, I thought I sorted that out.
Yeah.
What do you hope to achieve? If you look back at your life and you're about to go on to the next life, what would you hope that your life stood for?
What, right now?
In 20, 40 years time when you lost. Yeah,
beautiful. So do I say this now? So I'm building this business, Metamorphosis, not just for myself and for the greater good of the community, but also for my son. Yeah, he is my drive. Why do I say that? Okay, it is common knowledge to a lot of people, and it is something that I use in my seminars, so it's not really a secret no more. But unfortunately, he's incarcerated for a very long time. So when he comes out, I want this empire, Metamorphosis, to be for him. So when he comes out, I'll be like, son, you know what? Here you go. You know, here is something that you can get involved in now to carry you on for the rest of your life. So that's what I see. Yeah. It's not just for myself and for the community, it's for my son, to also for him then to continue the legacy and keep it moving forward. Yeah.
Matthew, what would you like to leave us with? What should we know? How should we find you? What are the next steps for you? All the questions all in one go, but just pick the ones that you feel that you want to kind of say before the show ends.
Yeah, thank you. So Metamorphosis, UYSP, Unlocking Your Superpower is what it stands for. A course that me and my director have made up, which is OCN accredited, is a registered company. Okay, you can find us on the gov.uk website. That is Metamorphosis UYSP CIC, Community Interest Company. We have a live website which is out there, which is www.metamorphosis-uysp.com. Yes, it's a lot, but once you see the content, you'll see what we're all about. Alternatively, you can email me, matty@metamorphosis-uysp.com. Alternatively, again, very sorry, you can call me 07401982688. Please, any establishment, any school, any college, prison, even if you have a family member who needs one-to-one peer mentoring, you know, I'm qualified in various levels of peer mentorship. Please do not hesitate to call me. We can have a meet and greet, or we can have a telephone conversation and really get things working to better those in the community who just need bettering for themselves and for their lifestyles.
Wow. Matty Morris, thank you for being on Being Curious with Counselling Reflections. Thank you for just contributing to the leadership, I think, within the community, not in terms of like a hierarchy, but just in terms of energy, you know, kind of galvanizing, inspiring lots of different people from different walks of life. Thank you for being a father that thinks of his son. So happy belated Father's Day. Really appreciate the wisdom and the openness that you've shared today about your son and the legacy that you would like for him to kind of get involved in the company itself. And I think it also kind of talks to many people who are not struggling with life, but just need to kind of have some space to work on their own stuff. So thank you for kind of directing people to you so that they can kind of find out what they need to do to gain their superpowers. Thank you for being curious.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure. And I wish you all the very best in your future endeavors also. God bless you.